गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गणपतये नमः।
जयधारी माँ। हर जीवन अनेक प्रकार के रंगों से भरा हुआ है। बातचीत वही रंग बांटेगी आप सबके साथ। हम सब एक हैं, बस सोच अलग अलग है। बटोर लीजिए उन रंगों को, जो भी आप चाहें इस बातचीत से, और ढाल लीजिए अपनी सोच में। यही मकसद है इस बातचीत का। आइए मिलते हैं अपने प्यारे से मेहमान से। अतिथि देवो भव।
जयधारी माँ आप सबको। We welcome you all very, very warmly. Mummy gratitude. एक thought when I was reflecting about today's Baatcheet. There is a self which is beyond it all. लेकिन in today's times, आप देखिए physical, emotional, mental, financial, social well-being कितना interconnected है. I think spirituality is also making that connection auspicious. Financial well-being is connected. Mental well-being is connected. Physical well-being, social, emotional well-being is all connected to each other in today's time and age. हमने उस interconnect को auspicious बनाना है. And I think that is what we are recognizing in our today's Atithi, because he does that. So let's see a video on him and then talk to him. Very welcome,
Namaste.
sir. Very welcome.
Namaste. Good evening. Thank
Namaste,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Very welcome. God bless, sir.
Thank
Ma
you.
bless. Ma bless.
Lovely, lovely introduction plan, Vibes. The team.
Lovely.
Very,
Yes.
Thank you.
very happy. Very happy to
Very
see
grateful.
this.
Very grateful, sir.
Thank you.
So, what made you think differently from the start? You thought so differently. What made you
I
think
don't know.
different?
I just feel that there was this constant urge that I have to innovate, to reimagine things, not always about how things were always done. Why can't we do things differently? Why can't we think differently? With that in mind, I always, even though I'm part of a family, I always thought, what else can I do apart from what the family business is? So, from that perspective, I was always encouraged, and I think largely to do with my own parents as well, always encouraged me to think outside the box, imagine life differently, but keep the fundamentals intact in terms of the values that are very core to what makes our family and what we do today.
It's
The
a legacy of
800
800 years. Yeah,
years.
carry on.
Yes.
800 years of legacy. It's
Yes.
a
The- it's-
legacy of 800 years.
Yes. We have a family history book that rightfully, as you mentioned, Dr. Kiran, that it just goes back to 800 years. It's a lovely coffee table book, as I call it. Probably weighs about a couple of kilos. But the point is not about the book. It's not only about the 800 years of legacy. It's what we hold true and what we can see. So I'm the 19th generation in the family by that count. So what that book does is not just showcase what the family is about and what it has achieved, but it's a showcase for the family itself, for every generation in the family to see what our ancestors did. What was it that they did right? What was it that went wrong? What do we learn from that? And what is that one factor that has been sustainable throughout this entire journey of 800 years? Today, of course, the Muthoot Group stands on a legacy, but as the group exists today, I'm the fourth generation in the present business. But from the legacy point of view, it's not the businesses or anything that was important. It was about what we were able to achieve for the communities that we interacted with and how the family sustained itself through those various eras of transformation. I think that is what is the true learning lesson from that book. And I'm hoping that that book is also transformative or informative for other families as well, and people in in the present generation to understand what truly matters, what truly sustains. It's not just business, but much more than that.
Sir, when you turn the pages of that book, amazing, sir. What a beautiful thing you shared with us. When you turn the pages of that book, what do you feel when you hold each page? My God, 800 years, sir.
It's hard for me to say that I can be emotionally connected to people I have never met, but I can only read about their stories, people from the family, and what they have done, what they have been able to achieve, that journey that has sustained them for so long. And the most important thing, it's almost like sometimes you get goosebumps just thinking about what they had achieved, what was possible in those days. It's also in terms for me to go back in history, not just from the family's perspective, but also of our great nation, right? Today, we talk about businesses and families and the growth story of this great country of ours. We talk about primarily businesses in big cities like Delhi, Bombay, Lucknow, Bangalore, wherever. But it's also a self-discovery of what the rest of the country was also doing at that point of time. And to see Kerala, at least the state that I am from, what it was at that time and how it has been transformed over these last 800 years is also a walk back in history as well. And to see how much the people of this country have been able to achieve and how many stories like ours remain untold. And I think that is the true story of India, if you really ask me. not just the story of the family. But just coming back to my own personal perspective on this is what I did realize, and we realize in our generation now, is that the true legacy, which I keep talking about, that has been sustained through, is the value system. The values of trust, integrity, reliability, honesty, all of this. Today, people talk about it in boardrooms, people talk about it outside, but the fundamental belief in these values are being disregarded even today. Because unfortunately, I say, wealth has become a big thing for people. Wealth is being celebrated. And who's to blame for that? Because at the end of the day, you would see magazine covers, you would see newspapers talk about businesses, talk to children, and then the next generation is taught how to create wealth, how to generate wealth. We're not talking about compassion anymore. We're not talking about integrity anymore. We're not talking about the value systems that brought us where we are today. Unfortunately, even in this country, I sometimes feel that we are moving towards a Western model of development, which I don't think is the right way to do it, because that's not how we found true happiness in what we did. We had a culture that is so rich, and we still have it. When I say when we had, it's not had, we still have it. The problem is we're losing focus, especially in the hallowed halls of our educational institutions, where we lose track of what really children should be taught, rather than just what is there in the books. There's much more to it.
Illustrate a little more about your culture, the family culture. Give us examples.
So from the family culture, I would say from my grandfather to my father, we always said the most important thing that has been with us is the trust that the people we interact with have always entrusted with us. And I think from early stages and my early childhood days, I've always been taught that never ever misplace that trust, no matter who you become. Because at some point, you tend to be swayed by other things, but the values can never change. And that was always taught to us. It was, yes, we did have, as I say, a life of privilege, if you look at it from that perspective. But we were taught to respect that privilege, knowing that the privilege that you enjoy today is because of the society that you interact with. And to have all come together is where you continue to sustain that. And for that, we need to have compassion. We need to feel each other as human beings and not just another number on a balance sheet, as they say. I think that is what has been fundamental, the cornerstone of how I've been brought up. I've had a privilege of going to great educational institutions as well. I have seen how there's been many business people who have grown their businesses, have legacies behind it. And I always say, legacy without growth is just nostalgia. But growth without legacy is only scale, You need both. You need both to bring it about. And what we would want to leave behind, because this company is not called anything else except called the Muthoot Group. It's the family name. We put it on the line. It is the biggest trust we have. We can't hide behind anything else. Everybody knows. So Muthoot itself, if you put your name on a company, then it means that you back it 100% as a family, because your values will never be compromised. You can make whatever decision it is, but you will never compromise on the value systems. And that was always taught to us as we were kids.
Where did the name Muthoot come from, Saina? Can I just ask, keep the thought continuity? Where did the name come from?
It's a very interesting question. Where do most names come from? At least in Kerala, it has always been this. The original family was called Tevarvelil. And then down the years, it became another family called Velyaveetal. And from Velyaveetal comes the name Muthoot. I think it's about movement, people going to different places, adopting names of places. In Kerala, I don't know if you're aware of this, we don't have a surname concept. So Muthoot is just a family name. So my name is George M. George. So I am technically George, son of George. That's how the naming process goes by. It's an old process. The Muthoot adds to more identification because there can be so many Georges who are the son of Georges. But I'm George, son of George from the house of Muthoot. So it becomes more specific to say that's who he is. So it's a form of identification. But if you really ask me where it comes from, I think it's also derived from the name, from the reference in South India called Mutta or Muttu, which means pearl. You know, from that is derived from that word actually.
How beautiful.
Was it from the beginning itself? Was it right from the inception?
No. Muthoot as a family name, I believe, is only about 6 or 7 generations old. Like I said, the original family name was Tevarvelal. From there, we moved to Velyavital, and from Velyavital down the line became Muthoot. So that's how it is.
Right.
That was a lovely question and a lovely conversation, sir. I think that's beautiful, getting to know your family. Sir,
Thank you.
Privilege, wealth is sacred, sir. It's auspicious. It's sacred. But it needs a well-placed eye. It needs a well-placed sense of self. It's a blessing having resources, privilege, abundance. But you need a very, very well-placed
Rooted.
eye within. You need a sense of the self. What does the self mean to you, sir?
I think when I look back, you're absolutely right. Maybe whether you want to call it privilege, whether you want to call it anything else, like I said, from childhood, we've always been aware of this. Now, I personally look into the CSR of the company, which is the corporate social responsibility. And I've had this privilege, as I call it, the greatest privilege, to work with people. I don't want to call them underprivileged. I want to call them people who need or desire that help and that little bit of boost and to regain their lives. And I think with CSR, I have been able to work with so many people across the country to really understand at the grassroots level what people really need. And sometimes when you look at what they really need and they require in life, I consider everything, including the air that I breathe, a privilege. You know, just we consider all of this and we take all of this for granted. But at some point, I even consider that just keeping your health alone is a privilege, where people don't have that opportunity. To be able to help them, to see how their lives transform is probably the greatest joy I ever get. And every day I spend at least a couple of hours on CSR projects. And it's not just me. I would say even in the organization, as a family member who looks after CSR, it's only the leadership role that has been given to me. But the entire family, even today, is involved in every single CSR project that we do. I only lead it, I only guide it, but everybody's involved from all the generations that are alive today. So it is something that we've been doing for so long. CSR is something that the government has only mandated in 2013. It's amazing that India is the only country where CSR is actually mandated. For a country that has had people who have always been giving, you know, that we had to mandate it. Nevertheless, even if it is mandated, I feel that this is a great opportunity for corporates and families to come together and really make that change. There's a lot of gap between what the government wants to do and what really happens, and where projects get priorities, and there are other sectors that will never get priority. So this is where the corporates can come and make that difference. And every project that we do, really, I speak from my heart, it really transforms my outlook on life. And every time I look at my children, my own family, I don't remember a day that I'm not counting my blessings, that we have this. But so what if we have this? What are you doing with it is more important than just having it. Many people feel privileged, but sometimes they don't do anything. And I think with this, what I would call it a blessing, with this blessing or this ability to help people, That is the greatest privilege today. Yes, I have everything and more that one could ask for in life. And then you ask, what more can you do for the others? That's the most important thing.
So gratitude and giving have been your core values. Gratitude and giving.
Absolutely. I think I generally, my friends consider me a very, very happy person. People who I interact with, they always ask, are you happy because you're a privileged person coming from such a great family? And what is the source of otherwise, what is the source of your happiness? I think, yes, partly that, but to a large part, what I was just saying, the greatest source of my happiness comes from this ability to help other people. And I think that has been, you might even want to call it therapeutic, you can call it whatever you want, but it has always helped me. And whenever I should face a challenge in my own life, we all face challenges. It's not like just because you're wealthy or privileged that you don't face challenges. Everybody faces challenges. I consider them first world problems because these are minor, these are not even challenges. I think there are so many things we take for granted that when we lose control of something in our lives, we tend to become very agitated and frustrated and upset about it. I've stopped doing that now. I've realized that all of these things don't matter. What we have are, we should focus on the real challenges rather than what I call first world problems, and trying to solve those. I think the real challenges come in our lives, and that's where we need to be focused, and that's where we need all our strength. And that's how I look at this whole idea of contributing back to society.
The resources and a happy family life are blessings.
Yes.
They strengthen you to go out there in the world.
Absolutely.
To do
But-
more and take on more.
Yes.
To do more and take on more.
Absolutely.
But sir, these are blessings. And a lot of this is a part of the karmic journey. But sir, we all need a core driving emotion within us, no matter the external circumstances. Something that keeps us going, something that gives us the color in our eyes and the spark to get up and do what must be done, what ought to be done. What is that, sir? For me, it's devotion. That's
Right.
my driving force for everything I do, say, feel, think, talk, not talk, say, not say. Tiny decisions, big decisions, choice of color, food, everything, sir. Relationships.
Right.
There's a driving core value. What's yours, sir?
Wow, that is such a difficult question to answer. Sometimes I have to introspect and say, I think I wake up every morning with just a basic idea that I'm still alive and I can do much more. To be a better person than I was yesterday. That is my entire aim in life. To say that, how can I change lives today? How can I affect the people that I'm working with today? And my entire team will vouch for it. Most of the time, for me, humor is very important. So if I have not made at least 5 people laugh in a day, then I think my deed is not done yet. So when I see people, I see happiness, I see their passion, I see their devotion to things. But sometimes I feel, there's this little bit of humor that is missing. There's a little bit of laughter that is missing. We tend to forget the child in us, and we tend to become too serious with a lot of things. And we tend to focus on what we're doing, trying to achieve so many things, calling success whatever it is, And I always say, that's all fine. But remember that you are who you are and never forget who you are. And I think being yourself is the most important thing. So here I go around making silly jokes in the office, and the entire team is like, is boss really serious, or is he just going around having fun? No, I am serious about what needs to be done, but I'm also serious about we should have fun doing it. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? I think true success can only be measured by the fun you have and the passion you have for what you're doing. And I think you can never compromise on that. And if you feel you have, I think you're in the wrong place. I always say, somebody asked me once, what is true success for you? Is it building a business? Is it the money? Is it the wealth? Is it happiness? I said true success is if you can curate your own life. If you can do what you want to do, not because of any social pressure or people telling you what you have to do. To be yourself is the most important thing. And that's where true happiness lies. And I feel this quotient of happiness that is required is really, really missing in vast tracts of our society, if you really ask me today. Because there's a lot of things that keep us unhappy, but very few things that are really bringing us happiness. I think we can find happiness in the smallest of things. We stop discovering that now at some point.
I think Muthoot Group is constantly striving to be curating. You actually, as a group, curated yourselves individually and collectively. I think the key word which you've used right now, which you curate your own life, but the group has got curated for the last 800 years. Your forefathers actually curated it individually and collectively. I think you've hit the brilliant, you've shared a treasure of your life.
Yes,
and the group curation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Curation. I think curating not only your life, but helping others curate their own life is where it's most important. Whether it's in business or outside of business, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's the people you work with, everybody and anybody out there, if you can help them curate their lives, I think that is the greatest gift you can give anybody.
It's like self-curation, and all who are members of the extended family of Muthoot curating. I think it's just brilliant. What is your USP under the company? There must be a USP. What is it in yours, in the group?
I think what we do right is, we always believed in the fundamental values of the business in terms of what we do. See, when you look at what the family does, and I think we're always known for gold loans, right? Yeah. We have been able to empower people through that. I mean, if you look at the stories that we have of people, whose lives have been transformed because of this. I'll tell you something very interesting about this whole thing called gold loans as well. Just as going back a few decades, even into Kerala's history, if you look at Kerala's history, a large part of Kerala's economic welfare today has been built because a lot of Malayalis went to the Gulf. And in those days, there was no bank or anybody giving the rural population any loans to get a passport or a visa or a ticket to go find a job and probably be able to sustain their families and go out there and really make a living, or, as I said, curate the life the way they want to do it, rather than be stuck inside this in a place where probably jobs at that time were very scarce. So gold loans help transform their lives. And today also, gold loans continue to transform lives right across the country. We are present in length and breadth of the country. And even though people call it gold loans, we always say it is not even a loan, if you really ask me. Because at some point, when you want a housing loan, you borrow money from a bank. When you want a vehicle loan, you borrow money from a bank. Any personal consumption you want, you borrow money. You borrow money because you don't have the money to reach there. Whereas in gold loans, you're not borrowing money at all. Think about it. You have the money. It's just in the form of gold. Right. What are we doing? We're only transforming that into currency that you can actually use to get there, or whatever you want to do, and to realize your ambitions. But the gold per se is money already with you. We're only helping you unlock that potential that you have. So I don't even know why it's even called gold loan, because for want of a better word, we call it gold loans. Okay. But that transformation that started in the rural hubs of Kerala, we didn't come from any big city. Remember, if you look at the history book, we came from a small place, and we origins in the central Travancore area. And my hometown is still a place that people can't pronounce. And from there, the growth story started. In fact, I would say if you really read into it, it's actually a CSR effort that became a business model, if you want to call it that,
So
to
right.
help the farmers in during bad harvest years when they wanted money. We would always give them money at that point, because that time we were into trading. We were not into into the finance part of it. But they insisted that you should keep our gold with you as security. We were not even thinking about that. But the moment that started, an interesting business idea sparked itself and said, why can't we do this not just within our community, but why can't we spread this outside? There will be a lot of people who need this kind of assistance. And remember, in those days, banks never went into rural area, India. There were a lot of unbanked Indians, as I call, no, not part of the formal banking sector. And today, thanks to what we have done, we have put a lot of people in the banking sector. They are now proper people they have a CIBIL score, they have all of this, and now they're eligible for loans from other banks for all other needs as well. So it all started with this idea of gold loans, which was money they already had. And from there, lives have started transforming. And even though in the north of the country, this was looked down upon, who takes gold loans? क्या घर के जेवरात कौन रखता है? ना नाक कट जाएगी, लेकिन घर के जेवरात हम नहीं रख सकते. But today they realize the potential of the value that they hold. This is something that they're not selling. This is just borrowing against it and taking the gold back. And for that, I once again come back to why do it with Muthoot? It's because we hold the trust of the people that their gold will not be sold, their gold will not be taken away, but it will be given and it will be kept in safekeeping and be given back to them in the same way. Because gold is not just a metal, it is also what they put is a legacy, their heirlooms. You know, it belonged to their great-great-grandfather or grandmother. These are things that they treasure. There's an emotional value behind it. And we understand that. In fact, we've also made today you can call it very bad financial decisions based on that. Because as per the banking norms, if a gold loan is not closed, it is considered an NPA, right? But we say it is not an NPA. So immediately what is mandated is that if they don't close the loan, you should auction the gold and sell it and recover the money and keep the balance sheet intact. But we didn't do that. For decades and decades, we didn't do that because we gave every opportunity for the borrower to please repay the loan so that they can take their gold back, because we understand the value of that gold. It is not just a metal, it is part of their family legacy as well. So that trust has never left us. And so we've kept that trust, and people who have dealt with us, we have generations, we have at least 3 generations, if not more, who are still, you want to call it banking or dealing with us, because Muthoot is equal to trust, and they kept our trust alive. They did not desert us. They gave us every opportunity we've got. So I think from that perspective, it's very difficult to imagine any other business that requires that amount of trust to put some of your most valued things and knowing that you will get it back one day.
You actually curated their wage security closest to their heart. You
absolutely
curated their legacy. You curated their jewelry,
yes,
and kept it safe for them, because it would have got lost elsewhere.
Absolutely.
It would have got lost. You actually secured their curation. You secured their jewelry and made them prosperous. Had it been kept with them, it would have got lost. It's been with you. And later on, the government came up with gold bonds later.
Yes.
Remember? So I think you were amazing pioneering this. You had actually secured curation of their jewelry and their value.
Yes, ma'am. But most importantly, I think of the lives that have transformed because of that. Today, a large part of the Kerala population, as you know, depends on the remittances that come from the Gulf. I'm just taking Kerala as an example, as a closer this thing, because part of our history, a lot part of our history is there as well. And now across the country, a lot of states, people are going out and working, and the remittance is what comes and sustains their families. So they will be able to curate their life. The word that we fondly talk about, curating. They were able to live their ambition They were able to curate their children's lives. Generation upon generation has seen this. And I believe that's where we find what I would call the perfect balance of how society works alongside institutions like us to really transform lives. And I think this is not just a CSR story. This is the story of how we've built it brick by brick as an institution to where we are today. It was not tremendous growth that we were looking for. It was not the bottom line that we were looking for. Like I said, we chanced upon this business purely by accident. It was not meant to be. But it came about, and we realized, how can we make it into something a little bit more formal and structured that people can appreciate with total transparency, so they can also understand how much gold they've kept with us and how safe it is and how they will get it back. And you're absolutely right, ma'am. A lot of this gold in their houses were not even safe. Robbers, dacoity, no insurance in those days. I think it was far safer kept with us. And then for them to do what they had to do.
And monetized it. Actually, you have curated Kerala.
I wouldn't take all the credit for it, ma'am, but it sounds plausible. But I would say it is the people who were able to curate their lives. We were only, how do I say it, moderated. I don't know how to. We were just a conduit through which this happened. We were just a conduit, but people curated their lives. They knew what they had to do, and I think they still do today. And with that respect, that we continue this business is only because of that respect and that level of values that we've kept intact.
And that was started how many years ago?
The formal nature of this was way back in 1939. That's when we moved into this. But the business was started in 1887, but 1939 is when we formally moved from our previous business into banking, or this present avatar of financial services.
Brilliant.
Sir, just taking something from your thoughts. So to do such business, you need a very strong, unified board. You need a very strong board. You're a group of companies, sir. You're a group. You need a unified family, and you need a unified board. What's your thoughts, your message, and the changes you would like to see in the board meetings that happen? Because a lot of action happens there.
I know. This could get me into trouble. What the changes No, but I always say in a family business, now we are like Muthoot is family owned majority, but it's professionally run now. We have a lot of professional leaders who now lead the next charge. Our fundamental duty right now, as the next generation, the generations come, will be purely of governance to ensure that the values are not corrupted. But the growth cannot come just from the family members involved in it. But you do see families that are splitting, there are families that are not coming together. There's a lot of misunderstanding. So from that respect, I say 3 things are very important in every family: communication, communication, communication. I think if you do not have that, then a lot of misunderstanding comes in. And I believe we have constant communication between family members. Today, of course, technology enables that even better because we have WhatsApp and whatnot, but we are able to constantly communicate. And I'm not talking about communicating business ideas, but also your personal thoughts on things, your fears, where you derive your happiness from. Everybody should know each other really, really well. Nobody should be left misunderstood. Nobody should be left saying that they are not able to curate something and others are being preferred. It should be somewhere where everybody's equal. Everybody understands each other. Everybody understands each other's ambitions, what we want to do. And that to give, I would say, a beautiful, playground on which we all curate our lives together, that becomes important. So apart from the formal board meetings that we have family board meetings also every month. Board meetings, I call them board meetings, but we sit together and we discuss every vision, every ambition, every family issue that we have right there, and we put it threadbare on the table. And with the guidance of the previous generation and the present generation and the coming generation, we think about not only ourselves, but what we do and how it's going to affect millions of lives. Because at this present moment, just in the group, we employ more than 60,000 people. Their families are transformed. We have a lot of people who come and deal with us. Their families are transformed. Leave alone the millions of customers who come to us. So we cannot treat this as just our fiefdom and do whatever we want. We need to understand that we have great responsibility for what we're handling. So the board meetings are all that. If you really ask me on a lighter note, if there's anything I would like to change in the board meeting, probably the quality of the snacks. You know, I wish we had healthier things to eat instead of the unhealthy things that come, because we sit at hours in end talking about all of this, and if we're going to eat all of that, it really upsets us stomach. You know, at some
But your
point.
hospitality is your strength. It is for you to choose the menu. That's yours,
Yes,
your creation
yes,
also.
yes. But you know, like I said, everybody gets an equal voice. Some wants the junk, some wants the healthy stuff. So we have to strike a beautiful balance there as well. So no, I would fundamentally not change anything if you really ask me. I think we have a great thing going. I like the way we communicate. I like the way we talk. I like the way that, at least in my generation, that we've all come together. We've understood nobody is willing to compromise on the values. Whatever we do it together. We're in it together. Otherwise, we will not let anyone go astray and do something, and we'll say, okay, that is your problem, not our problem. In fact, if anybody did something independently also, we would say that is also our problem. We will back you up. We will be with you. We will support you, because it is important. The most important thing is the support that you can give your family, that you can
Yes.
give your loved ones. And each one of us, touch wood, have never failed each other, and we've stood by each other.
Ma
Thank
bless you.
God.
God bless you. God bless your family. So Ma bless your
Are you
family.
regular church goers? Are you all regular church goers?
Oh yes. We are very religious, very conservative. You know, as Christians, we are a faction of Christianity called Orthodox Christians.
Yes.
So not many people know this, but Christianity actually, one of the first places it took root is in India. You know, outside of present day Israel and the surrounding areas. When the disciples of Jesus, when they left after his death, when they went out to the world, Saint Thomas came to India in 52 AD and landed off the coast of Malabar, and that is present-day Kerala, Kodungalur, and there, from then onwards, Christianity has taken root. Christianity came into Europe only towards the end of the second century, early third century, whereas Christianity was already taken root in India in the first century. So think
Oh,
about that. So India is also the birthplace of Christianity. You know, it
oh.
is not just the birthplace of other religions, but people think Christianity came to India during the colonial rule. You know, that is not true. There was an established church in Kerala that was there from 52 AD, the first century onwards. In fact, recorded history shows that when Vasco da Gama came in 1498 to Kerala, he was surprised to find that there were churches already established. And then his only scheme was to promote Catholicism in India. But Orthodox Christianity is always there. And so there are Orthodox Christians across the world. So if you have Indian Orthodox, that is primarily from Kerala, you have Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Roman Orthodox, you have Ethiopian Orthodox. These are all independent churches that are established in those countries. And so, yes, we are Orthodox Christians, and we are very religious. We're very conservative as well. I guess the name Orthodox gives it away, you know. So
Yes,
we're very
it does.
conservative. We don't go out there and just reject God and do whatever we want to do. It's a very disciplined family regime that we grew up with, and I think that respect for God means you respect every other creation of God as well, and that's the most important thing.
I guess that's the strongest foundation
Yes.
for the family and work. It's
Yes,
translated into work values,
yes.
personal values to work values,
So
remaining
we
God fearing.
so we have a little surprise for you, because
Oh.
you've been spreading you've been spreading God's love through all your, and I think interacting with the world, interaction, words carry a lot of power. If they come from the heart, they carry a lot of power.
That is true.
So, sir, you started something beautiful a few years back. That's the surprise. So we call love.
Here he is. Here's the reply.
Ah, okay.
I agree.
That is a good surprise. I know this young man.
I'm glad with the word young. You curated my life as well, GMD sir.
Yeah,
Remember the
you
word
curation.
curation is the word. First of all, good evening, Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am. Hi, namaste, vanakkam. Sainaji, Jai Dhari Ma. And
Dharima.
GMD sir, good evening, boss. Yeah, I was going through this entire conversation. I was listening to it and was so nice. I thought it'd be about financial wellness as Saina ji started off talking about mental wellness, financial wellness. And I got to understand about the wellness of life and lifestyle, living and giving. It was extremely interesting to hear this. I'm so glad. And in fact, on a personal note, I have interviewed three of you all on an interview basis as a host. I cannot tell you how privileged I am to be a part of this Baatcheet because it's really the high profile that I hear. I'm very happy to be the not surprise but shock factor for GMT. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Yeah, because he does radio Baatcheets.
Yeah,
George,
that is
you
true.
see,
That is
you
true.
gave him you put him on the radio for radio Baatcheets because, as you said in his interview, that the radio Baatcheets has disappeared. That's why you wanted the radio Chennai online.
Yes, correct, ma'am. Right, ma'am.
Sir,
It was so nice. I heard the word curate, Sainaji. I heard the word curate, which Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am held on to. And everyone's trying to be accurate in life. I'm so happy that curate is the word of empowerment today. You know,
Absolutely.
it's just very nice and fulfilling to hear that one. Yes, ma'am.
sir, sir,
Yes.
Rajiv has always been all heart, and he's had the highest regard for you, sir.
Yeah.
How has it been working with a radio format? Because you interact so much, and yes, sir.
And so when we started the radio station, it was not the intent that it should just be a radio station. I always felt that radio could be this medium of communicating to people right across all spectrums, right? Because see, if you look at any other form of media, if you look at print media, if you look at electronic media, if you look at TV and the usual this thing, everything is subscribed, but radio is free. Like anybody can tune in. If you have a transistor radio, whether you're a tea stall operator or you are an auto driver or you're sitting in a fancy plush office, radio is accessible to everybody. And it's the voice, it's the words, like you said, that carry weight because what you communicate is important. That's why we started this format as a talk radio station, because we didn't want to become like other radio stations. And I'm not trying to, say bad about any other. To say we just didn't want to play music because music is something that you can access on your device anywhere. But what does radio offer of any value to others? So it was a platform that we wanted to create. Especially when you talk about the radio station Chennai Live, it was the first radio station in the country to be named after a city because we said we want to connect with the city we're going to be there. We're not going to be a random radio name. We're going to be Chennai Live. We are going to be everything and anything about Chennai. And that's how we started. It was that platform for everybody to come on and talk about their life in Chennai, what they want done, what they would love about the city, anything and everything, all age groups come on board, use that as a platform to voice your opinion. That was the very idea. Otherwise, the other format was so easy to just follow and just put music out there and probably crack a few jokes. And then radio started being disregarded as a strong form of media. And we wanted to bring back the magic of radio. As I said, there's a song, Rajiv, isn't it? Video killed the radio star.
Yeah.
I believe no, video did not kill the radio star because I think radio is still alive. In my mind, it's still alive because I think radio communicates so much. It was from that year onwards that we saw this transformational change in how people looked at radio as well, at least in the city of Chennai, because that's the only broadcasting right that we had. And in that city, we got so many opinions from people about how they love Chennai, how they would love to see changes. Every generation, every generation talking to each other. It was, once again, what I said earlier, it was all about communication. When you communicate, your ideas, when you communicate your opinion, when you communicate your love, it makes a lot of sense for everybody. That's where radio brings in the magic. That's where radio brings in the value for people to tune in. Otherwise, you can pay a lot of money for marketing, telling people why they should tune in. But if there's no value in it, why would people come there?
Yeah. Rajiv, how
Yes, ma'am.
are you feeling today, and what's crossing your mind? Because Chennai Live is so lovely, and I do believe there's an inherent simplicity and humility
Honesty. Yeah.
that's connected with Chennai and with the southern states. There's a very calming effect.
I've had a great session. George, I've had a great session with Rajiv on this radio. Very, very, and we not, and you know what? You said, I look at how can I make people laugh. Rajiv and I have only laughed through the session.
That's good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rajiv, how has it been working?
No,
with
ma'am, Sainam, thank you, Dr. Kiran Bedi. I still remember after we had our interview, you called me up at 9 o'clock in the night, and people had a very strict impression about you, very disciplined impression about you. I got a call at 9 in the night, and my hands were shaking like she's calling me at 9. What went wrong? And I picked up the call, and the first thing you said was, it was amongst the best interviews that I've done. And I'm
this
very,
was
very
during
grateful.
COVID time. George, that was during COVID time.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I remember that very fondly, ma'am. Thank you. Sainaji, this what GMG sir has said. Like you started off, I think your first question to him was, how do you think differently? I think he's not only taught differently, he has taught us also very differently. It's the thought and the taught that he's made us do both of them. He's been great. He's envisioned many things, but he's never enforced anything. When I wanted to take the FM format into a digital format, he always has the mic in his hand and he keeps saying how bad I was, how forceful I was, how nagging I was. Today I have the power to share the stage and the voice, so let me use that and tell you that he was very clear, not about continuing something that he has built, right? It was not about passing a franchise on. He wanted to pass on the values, right? So we would talk during COVID consistently, and he would tell me the same thing, the power of a person's voice. It's not a celebrity, it is the common man's story that needs to be told. It is voices that need to be heard. And the earnesty of what radio actually is. I mean, think about this. Today, we're talking about social media and we're talking about podcasting. This is exactly what GMG Sir or Chennai Live started off in 2007. It was talk, which is podcast, and social media is each one having their own identity or having their voice. And that's exactly what we started off in 2007. And when we transformed from an FM broadcasting station to a digital broadcasting station, at that point of time, he kept instilling these values into me. He never spoke about when will we start, can I partner with him, will he give me the opportunity, will he give me the power? Never. He kept instilling values. This is what it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to go forward. So that is, I think, a sign of a great leader. And Dr. Kiran Bedi, ma'am, and GMG sir, yourself as well, Saina, ma'am, what are great leaders. You envision certain things, but you don't enforce it. And somehow you just pass on the values slowly and allow things to happen. So whatever has happened so far, GMG sir has always tested not the talent, but he's tested your values. No matter what idea I say, he will test me to the corner. He will push me to the edge and try to just see whether I really believe in it, whether I really have the perseverance and the passion for it. And I think a great leader is not one who has followers. A great leader is one who makes leaders as well. Maybe the shadow of their stature.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So, just a few concluding thoughts, sir. So, something for the young mind. All the AI in the world, there is no shortcut for values, and there's no shortcut for hard work.
True.
There is no AI made which can edit values.
Right.
ये थोड़ा कम कर लो. You can't edit values. You just can't. Either it's 100% integrity or it's not there. You can't be 99.9% honest. You have to be 100% honest in all aspects of your life, or you're not.
Very true.
Or you're not.
Absolutely.
And you can't sublease. You can't say, okay, do my hard work for me. Tell a machine or tell somebody else, you go do the push-ups for me, and you get that physical health. You can't, sir. So your message for the young mind.
Okay, you've put me in a spot here. It's all my personal opinions about things. I always say, every generation has already made up their mind about what they want to do. We can only guide and mentor them, but I would always say there'll always be a better generation. My tagline is life is the best is yet to come. It's always there, and we should not give up hope that, I constantly hear people saying that the next generation is going into this digital era. They don't know the difference between reality and what really needs to be done. They're not hardworking. They're not efficient. I tend to disagree. I think they're far more efficient than us. They just need that guidance, I always say, in educational institutions, we teach a lot of things. We do teach values. We do teach a lot of what needs to be taught. I always say, but we've not really taught them how to be happy. We've not inculcated that within them. No matter how much we talk about values, no matter how much we talk about wealth creation or we talk about knowledge or anything, I think we need to encourage. I see a lot of youngsters who are very depressed because even though they have everything, they have all the privileges that previous generations did not have. They have access to immense amount of knowledge. Like you said, there's AI as well to assist them, but they're not happy. Why are they not happy? Why is it that we are not able to show them what true happiness is, what we experience as children? Why are we not able to teach them that? Why are we not able to make them more compassionate? Why are we not able to make them more passionate as well? Why are we not just inculcating that? I always say, with the next generation, there is always this call to arms about why their jobs would disappear because of AI. I don't think their jobs will disappear because of AI. What is disappearing right now is happiness, unfortunately. And we need to re-inculcate that connect. I always say, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's the community, nobody's talking to each other. They're only texting each other. Nobody's calling each other anymore. Nobody's meeting face to face. Unfortunately, our interaction also happens to be online. But I'm just saying, where there's a choice, interact, meet, talk. We are not doing that. Just this morning, I was having breakfast with a few of my friends, very close friends, and and the laughter, the banter that we had, sharing old jokes, old memories. It just made us so much more happier.
Yeah.
And when you go out there, you spread that happiness, you carry it forward. Unfortunately, the world is now full of a lot of unfortunate events, whether it be war, climatic change. I jokingly say this, that we have probably the two greatest challenges that we face in today's world is artificial intelligence and natural stupidity. So now we have to embrace artificial intelligence the way it is. But I still feel that if there's anything that we could leave behind for the next generation is, very simply put, I will not go into values. All that is there, of course. I was just to teach them how to be happy, just happy and content with what they have. And that, I think, is the greatest message I would send to any generation, future, whatever generation comes. we as a species are social animals. We need to be happy. Only when you're happy can you keep others happy. And I think to seek your own happiness, we have to teach them. Can you imagine something that was so simple in our days? We would just be naturally happy.
Naturally happy.
Yeah. And now today, unfortunately, we'll have to teach the next generation how to be happy. Teach them how we found a little happiness. I think that's the greatest lesson that is not taught in schools. Unfortunately, not even being taught by parents. Both parents are working. They don't have enough time to spend with the children. They're on their iPads. They're interacting with all kinds of people from across the world. I think this is a global phenomenon. Happiness has become so rare. What used to be common and at one point has become very rare. That's all I say. Make life simple. Just be happy.
Wonderful, sir. Mami, would you
Fantastic.
like to share anything, please?
You kept the best for the end, Sainaji. You kept it for Dr. Kiran Bedi. Rightfully so, I'm sure.
Your wife is in St. George, handling St. George, Delhi. Is that right?
Sorry?
Your
I didn't
wife
hear
is
that.
handling the St. George School in Delhi?
No. I am. I am the chair, but my mother is the director of the school. It is her baby, actually. She's the one who brought the school up to where it is today. She's been in education for the last 40 years. Probably that's part of the discipline that we get at home because she's been an educationalist all her life. So we've understood.
So who's handling the St. George School in Delhi?
Right now, between my brother, me, and my mother, we handle the school. But of course, we have a principal who is looking after the day-to-day affairs and the entire team that look. She's a director in the school, and I'm the chairman.
And you're a Stephanian.
No. In fact, no. I'm not a Stephanian, actually. In fact, that is a very interesting story because after I passed out from school in Delhi, I got admission into St. Stephen's, and my father was very happy that I was getting admission in St. Stephen's. But I decided to do hotel management. He was so upset with me. I went all the way to Manipal, which I've never seen before in my life. I wasn't even familiar with the state of Karnataka. And I was going to Manipal to study hotel management. He asked me at that point, what do you want to become in life? You can go to St. Stephen's and do the best. But if you go to Manipal and do hotel management, you'll just be a glorified waiter. And I said, no, I have better ideas for hospitality. And a person who was against me reluctantly agreed that I go to Manipal. And after that, he supported me so much that today I stand only because his and my mother's support, of course, for where I stood and did whatever I had to do after that. And that was it. So I'm not a Stephanian.
All right. That's where you created the Zandari. It's called State of Mind.
Right.
Yes.
State of mind, yes.
Rajiv, your thoughts before anything you would like to say?
No. I mean, I've been hearing. I have a lot. Food for thought tonight is set for a few days. It's set. I have a lot to ponder on. We've had such wonderful conversations, and one thing I think that we all should take back from this conversation is the word that Mr. GMG sir and also Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am stand in great value of. No matter what the question was, no matter what the topic was, we always brought in the value of family. Whether it was finance, whether it was giving back to society, whether it was now you ask him a question about education and he goes back to his father. So I think today more than financial wellness, as the world is looking at things, it is the wellness of families that we're looking at, and we go back with these values. And as the moral of this discussion of this Baatcheet, that being happy is a privilege. I think we're entitled to do it. We lose our privilege sometimes. It's our right to be happy. Just need to find our way. And with people like Dr. Kiran Bedi ma'am and GMG sir, I'm pretty sure we're finding happiness that's going to be everlasting. So I'm very happy to be a part of this, Sainaji. Thank you for inviting me. GMG, I didn't gate crash this one. I promise you. I was invited.
It was a pleasant surprise, I would say. Good to see you, Rajiv. But why are you growing up? Is that part of your happy moments?
I know. I look a little wiser. I thought I look a bit wiser.
I think the crux of the happiness is giving and gratitude. If you're a giver and you remain grateful, you will remain happy. So that's the secret of the George family, the Muthoot family.
I do believe happiness is homemade, sir. Happiness is homemade.
Also homemade.
Happiness is inner work. And I think you're happy when you connect. You're happy when you share. You're happy when you reach out. Sir, but that needs to be real. That needs purity and integrity of thought, word, deed, and intent. You don't reach out for an agenda. You reach out from your heart. And that's what's required. That pure seva. That seva bhav din. That is the only thing that can fill us up. God's love and seva bhav. That's the only thing that can fill us up. Sir.
So
Well
it is
said.
not me. It's not me, but the other. It's the other.
Sir,
Not
Right.
me, the other.
everything else in life is so transitory. It's what you truly give stays with you, sir. But it has to be mindful. In today's time and age, it has to be mindful. Sir, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Immense
Thank you.
gratitude.
Thank you so much for having me
Thank
here.
you, ma'am.
Mommy, lots of love, gratitude. Thank you. Thank
How
you.
wonderful.
Thank
How
you.
wonderful to have
Jai
connected with
Dhari
you.
Ma. Immense
Thank
gratitude.
you.
Most
This is the
illustrious
Baatcheet
group
I
of
will
India.
cherish. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Dr. Kiran Bedi, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you,
Sir,
GMG, sir. Saina ji.
very
Jai Dhari, ma'am.
nice. Thank you, sir. Very nice meeting you. And from the family of India Vision Foundation and all our children, immense gratitude to you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Raji. Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
ma'am. Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.